A wonderful subscriber asked me for a recommendation or a suggestion for a geometry book, just like a regular geometry book. This is the only one that I have, and I like it. And I mean, if I ever have time, of course, I already have a list, enough books to cover that I want to cover for the rest of my life that I'm not going to get there. But if I did, I think this would be the book that I use. Now, this person was mentioning that this book has got group theory and linear algebra as prerequisites, and that is true. That is what is said in the book, and I'll show it. I'll talk about that later, but I'll just show the table of contents. So it's a straight up geometry book, the way you would have done it in high school, but it does have abstract. Linear algebra, lots of linear algebra, and a little bit of group theory. So it's got conics, affine geometry, lines, conics. Then inversive geometry, then hyperbolic geometry, elliptic geometry, and the Klein view of geometry, which is really, I guess, a little bit of topology, I'm seeing affine geometry. I don't really know. I'll show it. And then the beauty of this book, it's got solutions to problems. I really love that. So it's got a primer on vector and vector spaces, and it's got a primer on group theory, some further reading and special symbols. So yeah, I'll just zoom in on the preface for anybody who just wants to read in detail what the authors are saying. Yeah. Or preface. I always say preface. My wife always makes fun of me for when I call it preface. Yeah. And the next page. And then sure enough, as this person, my subscriber, mentioned, yes, it does assume a basic knowledge of group theory and linear algebra. But I don't think that should detract from anybody, because whatever group theory there is in this book, it can't be that much. And yes, linear algebra is linear algebra. That is true. That is fair. That is required for this book. And I saw, and I'll show it, the book is riddled with matrices. Because it's got a lot of stuff about transformations. Yeah. And then some changes for the second edition. Okay, so then I'll zoom out and just show the book. Now, this copy got some highlighting in the first few pages, but that does not detract me because it's got almost no highlighting. Whoever used this book must have given up either writing on it or using it very early. It's got proofs. Yeah, I'll probably put an eraser to all this pencil markings when I get to it. Yeah, just a straight up, the first few chapters are really just the kind of geometry you would have learned in high school. And so for me, that would be a great review, since that was a really, really long time ago for me. But yes, there are matrices. There are, right there. Yeah, strategy for solving proofs or problems. Lots of nice graphics. Yes, once again, yes, it is riddled with matrices. So definitely a little linear algebra will come in handy to go into this book. And I don't want to page through the whole book. It's a pretty thick book. I think it's got something like, it's almost 600 pages. But definitely, to me, this would be the book for me. When I get around to it, and I just want to say, okay, let me go back and redo all of my geometry, which I feel like I really need to. I know it happened to me in analysis and when I was solving some calculus problems, that I could tell that my geometry background is old. It's getting old and it needs a little refreshing. So definitely this is going to be my book, at least. And I'm planning to get more geometry books at some point, but they will all be within the context of topology for sure. Yeah. Great circle distances, geodesics. Yeah, this is where the non-Riemann geometry comes in, I think. Projections, more projections. Yeah, the Klein-Vio geometry. This is the part that I'm really much more interested in. That's why I'm really looking at it in more detail. Okay, so then it's got symbols, further reading, some group theory, vectors and vector spaces, surprimers, then your linear algebra, linear transformations, determinants, and then of course solutions to problems, really well detailed solutions to problems. I love that. Then a really nice index, and then the back matter. But before I get there, I do want to see, since I really didn't notice where the group theory stuff was. I mean, group doesn't even land in the index. Yeah, where did they put group theory in here? I'm puzzled. I did not look in detail, so that's my fault. But I mean, if there is some group theory in here, it cannot be in more than 2 or 3 pages. So I wouldn't worry about that. I would definitely say, yeah, linear algebra for sure is, and yeah, basic group theory, they already have an appendix. I'm not too worried about that. I still think this book is the one that I would recommend to anybody, and definitely is the one that I plan to use if I ever get around to it.